everybody, Jen from Scrapping Under the Influence. I am back with another project for Doodlebug Design. Today we are using the brand new Hey Pumpkin, and I have made a folio for you today. So this is an 8x10 folio. I used the Sweet Treats Doodle Cuts standalone die on the cover to make this cute little gumball machine. I used the Sweet Treats shaker fill for that. I added a bat from the, oh my gosh, which one is it? The Halloween Nights Shape Sprinkles, along with some of the little dots here and the candy pieces from the Trick or Treat shape sprinkle. I also used those on another one of these inside the album. I used some odds and ends pieces and chit chat pieces to decorate along with the border strips here. I do have 3 layers, well, 4 layers if you count the border strip, popped up and matted here on the front cover. It has a 1.5-inch spine, and then I used one of the this and that stickers on the back like I like to do on my albums. So when you open this up, there's different elements on both sides. So on the left side here, we've got just a very simple little waterfall. I used the 4x6 to mat in a couple of places here. This is one of the 4x4 cut aparts. This piece is from the Chit Chat, and then Odds and Ends. I used some of the Halloween assortment sprinkles here on this. This is a half-page flap, so it just flips back and forth there. This opens up down this way. I used 3x4 cut aparts here, and then made some little pockets, and then that repeats on this top flap. Here we have an acetate pocket where I used the spiderweb acetate, that heavyweight acetate that is new with the Hey Pumpkin collection, along with which one is this? The Candy Cottage Doodlepop here on the front, including the little pumpkin that comes on that Doodlepop set. This opens up this way, so we've got this fun little envelope that is acetate on both sides that you can see through. And then on the back side here, we've got just another big pocket with an insert that I used to cut apart, and then some of the coordinating solids, along with a couple of scraps to mat this. And this just slides down into this pocket here. And then that pocket lays exactly on top of the acetate pocket lays exactly on top of that pocket. So that's just kind of a fun little element there. On the other side here, I've got, like I said, my other Doodle Cuts gumball machine here, and there is a magnet on the back side of that that holds all of this closed, and we've got some zigzag pockets with the journaling cut apart that's matted there and there, and then I've got a couple of the tags from the tag cut apart sheet tucked in there as well. I've got another one of the journaling spots matted in that pocket. Again, I used the Halloween assortment sprinkles here, shape sprinkles from Halloween night here, and then again the Trick or Treat sprinkles on my gumball machine. When you open this up, on this side, we've got just basic photo mats on some little flaps there. Icons here. I've got the October Sky star sprinkles up here with the little moon and the clouds. I've got another photo mat here. This is just a basic 5x7, and we've got another acetate pocket here with the odds and ends. I'm saying a lot. I'm really sorry. We've got some more of the journaling spots here on this little angled pocket page. And then when you flip this up, we've got double belly bands with a little booklet using those journaling spots and a couple of other cut aparts and scraps to mat the inside of those as well. So these are actually cut down from the 3x8 to 3x7 3/4 so that they are short and don't hang over the edge of our flap here. And then back here, and I totally forgot I was going to put something right here, and I don't know what it was. Oh my gosh. You know what? Honestly, I kind of like it with just the border strip and then my little spiders here. We've got a pocket down here that I've got another 5x7. And the bits and pieces that are in this collection, there are several of them that are mirrored. So you can mat them back to back like this to make like a tab. And then up top, I've got some tags that I made with my tag tool. And I used the bits and pieces tabs on the top of those to give you your little spot to pull these out of this pocket on the back, which when you make this, if you end up making this, I would suggest moving this tab or this down just a bit because I did actually end up getting this too high. And I go through some of the matting for how to do the little notched pockets and whatnot in the tutorial for this album. I actually cut this matting out of this piece of paper that's matted on the backside just to kind of save you some paper. And I did cut it too high, which is why my pocket's too high. But that's okay. It's very easily fixable when you make your own version of this. So that is my folio. And the tutorial will play immediately after this walkthrough. As always, thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and ring the bell if you want to be notified when I have new tutorial projects posted. And thank you for watching, and let's get into it. Okay, as I get started on this, I'm going to apologize up front. I have got a sinus infection, but I've got to get this done because we're going to be out of town, and otherwise I'm not going to have time. So if I sound awful or if I'm sniffling, I apologize. I am so very sorry. All right, we are going to start with one piece of chipboard that is 8 by 1.5, two pieces that are 8 by 10. I'm going to set those aside for right now. We're going to start with our spine piece. To wrap our spine, we need a piece of cardstock that is 10 by 4.5. I'm going to use my spacers. These are available at countrycraftcreations.com. We want 1 inch on the top. We want 1.5 on the side. If you don't have the spacers, you don't want to purchase the spacers, you can lightly score to use that as a visual guide. You can make these out of scraps of chipboard, whatever works for you. On the back side of my cardstock, this is completely covered in tape. So I'm going to put this down just like so. And then we are done with our 1.5 inch spacer. And we've got our first piece of cardstock down. So for our two 8 by 10 pieces, the cardstock for those is going to be 10 by 12. This time I'm going to use a 1 inch and a 1 inch. And again, the back of this is completely covered in tape. Okay, so we're going to put this down like so. So the thing to remember with the lay flat cover is whatever size your chipboard is for your front and back cover, you want your paper 2 inches bigger. So this is 8 by 10. You want your paper 10 by 12. For your spine, you want it 2 inches taller, 3 inches wider. So 8 by 1.5 means 10 by 4.5. Okay. So hopefully that makes some kind of sense. Let's get our next one ready to go. If I can get the backing off, because of course it doesn't want to play nice for me today. one more little piece here. Ah, as it decides to really stick to my hand. Okay. All right, we are done with the spacers. And those I do not sell in my shop. I do sell a tool to help with your hinges, but I don't sell the spacers because those are absolutely a CCC thing. So, all right, so what we're going to do, we're going to start with our our spine. I'm going to lay it pretty side up, and I'm going to take my bone folder, whoops, and try not to poke a hole in it like I just did. Oh my gosh. And I'm just going to run my bone folder around the chipboard to kind of figure out where everything lines up. Oh, I may have to redo this piece. Yeah, I'm going to have to redo that piece, so I'm going to have to come back to that. So we're going to do our covers first. All right, so, and again, I'm totally getting myself off track. All right, so again, we're going to find our edges. This is just going to help us when we fold the cardstock around like I just started to do, to make sure it lines up, or I'm sorry, not that it lines up, just makes it easier to fold around. Okay. All right, so I'm going to use the chipboard to fold my cardstock. And again, and again. And again. This is the one I wanted. I'm actually gonna okay. All right, so we are going to go ahead and miter our corners. Like so. And then again. And again, and that one, you can see that little wedge out of there. I actually got a little carried away on that one, but it will be fine because I'm using black chipboard. Only because I've got a bunch of black and I'm about out of my normal stuff and I haven't had a chance to get any more just yet. All right, so I'm going to come around with score tape. I'm going to put it on the outside edge of all of these little tabs. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and get the backing off of my tape, and only my tape. I don't want to pull the tape up. And I'm going to do this all the way around, even though I really could just do them one at a time. And if you're new to this, that's probably, that might be a little bit easier for you. At this point, I could make these in my sleep. Seriously, my channel has like 400 tutorials on it. And or videos on it. And a lot of those are tutorials. There's some walkthroughs, there's some like hauls and that kind of thing. But a lot of them are tutorials. So I have done this. It's insane. Anyway, okay, so we've got our tape. We are going to take glue. We're going to run along the edge of the chipboard and then get in that little space in the middle. Take my bone folder, push up on the chipboard, and then over and down. So you can do this with just glue. You don't have to use the tape. I use the combination of the two simply because I can push this up and then over and down, and that tape is going to grab immediately, and I don't have to worry and sit and burnish it and hope it sticks down and wait for the the glue to start to catch and to dry, I can very easily just put that down and move on to the next piece. Okay. And again, and there we go. Okay, so there is one cover piece that apparently has glue where it's not supposed to, but that's okay. Okay. All right, so I'm going to do the same thing on this one. We're going to fold it around and around. Like so, and then I'm going to miter. And it doesn't have to be super aggressive. You just don't want the edges hanging over. Okay, so then you see I've got the wedges out there. Fold this in and then just do the exact same thing again. And very easily get those corners cut down. Must be tape on here. Okay. All right, so then I'm going to come again with my tape. And again there. And then get my backing. Okay, and then again with the glue. Along the chipboard in our little middle piece area there. And then over and down. Again, over and down. Okay. And over and down. Okay, let me redo my spine. I will be right back. Okay, so I have recut this. I'm going to go ahead and get tape on the back, which, where is my, there it is. This is going to kind of overlap just a little bit, but you know what? It's fine. And then let's trim that one off. Okay, so this was 8 by 1.5 inches. My cardstock is 4.5 by 10. So we're going to go ahead, get the backing off of this. Maybe. There we go. And lay that down. And we're going to try this again, and I'm going to use the bone folder that is not as pointy. I feel like all I've done for weeks now is just like clean and purge in my craft room. And clearly it's taken a toll. Okay, so we've outlined our chipboard, that is. We're going to go ahead and fold the cardstock around just like we did with the covers. Same thing. We're going to go ahead and miter. clearly there is still tape on there. Okay. And then again. All right. So now we're going to do the same thing that we did on the cover, only we're just going to fold over the top and bottom. Okay. So again, with the tape, pull the backing off. And then we're going to come in there just like we did before. Okay. And then over and down. And this is the area where I always end up with just glue everywhere. I'm not sure why. I don't know if it's because it's smaller and I just get carried away. Probably. That would actually make a lot of sense. Okay. All right. I'm going to turn it back over again. And I'm going to come on here again with my bone folder and burnish that down so it's very outlined where that chipboard is. Okay. I'm going to come on this end and put down score tape on the outside edges. Okay. Now, the way we're going to do this, I actually watched a video where a lady did it coming at it from this direction that kind of made sense. So we're going to try that. We'll see if this works. I was watching a tutorial for an album yesterday that was entirely in French, which I do not speak, but it was just the most amazing album. And I was watching it to kind of see how she'd done a couple of elements on it. And she was doing the lay flat cover, but she was doing it this way, which I thought was kind of interesting. Honestly, that kind of works. Huh. Well, how about that? Okay, so we're going to do this again. Take the backing off our tape. We don't want the glue to go all the way to the chipboard. You want to stay about 1/8 of an inch away. Okay. And down we go. Huh. All right, well, you know what? That could be an alternative way to put this together. I kind of liked it. It wasn't bad. Okay, so I always like to kind of pinch, I squeeze, and make sure everything's lined up. And then on this inside, to reinforce it, I have another piece of cardstock that is 6 inches wide by 7 7/8 high. So our book is 8 inches high, so 1/8 of an inch shorter than the overall height of the book. The back of this is also covered entirely in tape. Okay. And on this piece specifically, you do want to completely cover this in tape because when you put this down and you're closing your book and you're getting your base final, this is going to keep, covering this completely in tape is going to keep this piece from bubbling. Okay. So I'm just going to center this up about like so, put it down, burnish it down, and then I'm going to bend this up and carefully, because this is another place where you can very easily pop a hole, and you don't want to do that, run my bone folder and work that paper into that crease. Okay, so you can see it's very defined now. And then I'm going to come up, close it up, and I'm going to pinch it one more time. Okay, and then I'm going to come in here and erase my measurement off of this, which I meant to do first, but that's okay. That was easy enough. Oh, that's glue. That's not a pencil mark, that's glue. Oh, come on, there we go. All right, so there is your cover. That much is done. We can move on to our inside pieces. Okay, so we are going to start with the left side of the book. I have to look at my notes. All right, so here is my stack of things for, that's the wrong side, for the left side. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we are going to have a top flap on the left-hand side that is 7 by 5.5 with the 5.5 at the top of the scoreboard. We are going to score this at 1 inch. Okay, so 1 inch and 1.5 inches. Okay, set that to the side. We're going to have a waterfall. So I have 5 pieces that are 4 by 4.5 with the 4.5 at the top. We're going to score each one of these. Sorry, I have to turn it. I try to use it like a normal person, and I can't. We're going to score this at 1/2 inch on each one of these 4.5 by 4 inch pieces. So your 4.5 is at the top of your scoreboard, and you're scoring at 1/2 inch. Okay. All right, so there's those pieces. We also have a little band that's going to hold this waterfall closed. We will use a magnet on. This is 1.5 by 7. And we are going to score this at 1/2 inch to start, and then probably 5/8. Yeah, that should be good. Okay, so 1/2 inch and 5/8 of an inch. And then we have pockets that are going to go on the back side of that flap, and these are 5 by 3.5. There are 2 of them. So we want to, I'm not sure which way we're scoring these. Hold on one second. I have to look. Okay, so we're going to score these at 1/2 inch on 3 sides, starting with the 3.5 at the top. We're going to score at 1/2 inch, turn it, 1/2 inch, and 4.5. Okay, so again, with the 3.5 at the top, 1/2 inch, turn it. I'm just leaving these on here so I know which piece is which. And then we're going to score at 1/2 inch and 4.5. Okay. All right, so that is your top flap. Let's get all of our waterfall pieces together so that we're not losing things, because that would be about right. Okay, bottom flap. Again, 7 by 5.5, just like the first one, with the 5.5 at the top. We're going to score this at 1 inch, assuming we can hang on to our tool, and 1.5. Okay. We have a 1/2 page flap that is 4 by 4. Since it's 4 by 4, it doesn't matter which side, you're going to score at 1/2 inch. Okay, and then we have the same pockets again that are going to go on the back of that flap that are 5 by 3.5. So we're going to start 3.5 at the top of the scoreboard, score at 1/2 inch, turn it, and score at 1/2 inch and 4.5. And we're going to do that on both pieces. Okay, so 1/2 inch, turn it, half, 4.5. Okay. All right, so now we're getting into things that are a little bit more complicated, kind of. Okay, we're going to start with our pocket that's going on the back of the inside cover. Okay, so this is 8.5 by 9. We're going to start with the 8.5 at the top. We're going to score. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I had to make sure I was right. 1/2 inch. We're going to turn this so the 9 inch is now at the top. We're going to score 1/2 inch and 8.5. Okay. So that is our pocket that's going to go on the back inside cover. Or I'm sorry, the inside cover of the front. Okay, so then we have an acetate pocket. Okay, it's going to be acetate on both sides. So you're going to be able to see through it. So when it's laying down on top of this other pocket, you'll be able to see through. Okay, so we have one piece that is 8 by 8 that we are not going to score. Okay, our next piece is going to be 8 5/8 by 9 1/8. Okay, so we're going to start on the 9 1/8 side. We're going to score at 1/2 inch and at 5/8 of an inch. Okay, so there's a little bit of a gusset. We're going to come over here. We're going to score at 8.5, 8 5/8. Turn it, and again, 1/2 inch, 5/8 of an inch. Okay, so if you now lay your 8 by 8 piece on the top, and somehow I am still not quite right. What did I do wrong? Something isn't right. Did I do that one score wrong? I bet I did. No, that's right. And that's right. That's right. That's right. Okay. Apparently, I am just... Okay. So this one really needs to be 8 by 7 7/8. So I'm going to take a little bit off of this one. Sorry about that. Okay, so 8 by 7 7/8. Okay. Those two go together. Okay. And then we have a hinge piece. So this piece is 8 by 2. We are going to score this at 3/4 of an inch and at 1 inch. Okay. So this piece is going to end up attaching on the bottom of this piece, once we cut our frame into it, to attach it into the book. Okay. So before we go any further, let me just double check. Okay. So what we're going to do, we're going to start with our piece that does not have any scoring on it. And we are going to measure in 1 inch all the way around. Okay. So we're going here. 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 Okay, so what we need to do is cut this out. Okay. So I am going to grab that. I am going to grab a craft knife. You can do this with your paper trimmer. I'll show you actually on the other piece how to do it with the paper trimmer. We're going to do it the first time, however, with the craft knife that desperately needs a new blade, so bear with me for 1 second here. Let me swap this around. Aha, there we go. And then let me mark this so that I know that I have used that one as well. We're gonna knock on wood because I managed to do that without cutting my finger open, which you have no idea is a miracle in and of itself. Okay, so I'm going to start up here. I've got my metal edge to my ruler up against my line, and I'm just going to drag down. Okay, I'm going to turn. I'm going to do the same thing again. Okay. And one more time. Okay. So there is that. So now you're going to see, because these are different sizes, in order to get this set up so that the frame is in the same place, I am literally laying the one without the score marks on top of this inside the score marks. Okay? Just like so. And what I'm going to do is mark where this goes. Okay, so there's my line. So again, I could come in here and do it with the ruler and the craft knife, or I typically, this is probably the best thing about the Fiskars trimmer is that nice little guide wire. So use that to your advantage if you've got it. And I'm going to line this up and cut out the same frame. And honestly, it's pretty easy, like once you get it started, because when you hit the point where you've already cut through going across, you'll feel how it kind of like, it feels different when it hits that point. Okay, so there we go. And there's our other piece cut out. So next up, we need some acetate. So let me grab that and I will be right back. Okay, so I have my acetate. This is 6.5 by 6.5, and I have one piece of the super cute spider web. I have one piece of the normal heavy clear acetate, simply because I don't want to try and make sure I get those spider webs lined up on top of each other. So I'm not going to try. Okay, so the piece with all the score lines is going to be our back piece. So that's where we're going to put the solid piece. And I'm going to just take my 1/4-inch score tape. I'm going to go right around the outside of that window. Like so. And I'm going to pull up the backing partially on 1/4. Okay, I'm going to line this up on top, and I'm going to push it down in that corner. Okay, like so. Then I can pull this out and get that piece down. Pull this out, and that side is down. Then I can come underneath here with my little pokey tool. Actually, I don't even need to do it from there. I can do it from down here. Pull that out. Let's get this one. Okay. And there is one side of your acetate window. Okay, like so. We're going to take our other piece and do the exact same thing. I'm going to go around my edge. With the score tape. So your opening on this should be approximately 6 by 6. Which is why we're going 6.5 by 6.5 on the acetate. And this one I don't think has as much of like a good side versus a bad side like some of the other ones do. But if you were making this book in other paper, this would be super cute, really in any of the Doodlebug papers. We're going to lay this on here just like we did the other piece and put that down. And the reason we're doing it that way is to make sure that our acetate goes down nice and flat so that it doesn't because occasionally it can kind of bubble up on you when you're putting it down on cardstock like this, and we don't want that. So that's why we're doing it this way. Maybe. Okay. And there we go. So those are going to go together just like so. And what I want to do is line this up the way I actually am going to put it down. And then I just want to mark just very lightly with a pencil which side goes with which side. Okay. All right. So those two are pretty much ready to go. So we're going to take this piece that has the acetate in it, that has the score lines. We are going to come down here and you're going to cut right through the middle where those two score lines are. Okay, so let me do it on this side so you can see. In fact, let me do this. Kind of see. Okay, so there's where they cross. And then we are going to come across like so. Okay. At the top, you're going to miter from the outside score line down. Okay. But before we go any further, we are going to do a little notch in the top of this. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to take my ruler and I want to center this up as close as I can to center. And I'm going to come in. Actually, I don't even need to do it that. Yeah, I do. Yes, I do. Before I completely mess this up. Okay, I'm going to come in at 2 inches here 2 inches here. Okay. On this one, I'm going to do the exact same thing. In fact, I'm going to line this up on top the exact same way it's going to go on when we put them together and make our pocket. I'm going to mark. I'm trying to think how I want to do this to make sure it lines up exactly. I know. Okay. We are going to go ahead. You're going to cut because you're going to have like this top score line is going to kind of come in a little bit. Hopefully you can see that. Okay, so I just tiny little flap there. Okay, so I want to fold my first score line and burnish, and then fold up my second score line and burnish that one as well. And then I at least have that I can rest this down in the bottom against that bottom part of the score line. Kind of. You know, I have this all worked out in my head how this is going to work. And of course, never quite works like you think. Okay. I've got this centered. I've got it lined up. I'm just going to paper clip it in place. I'm going to turn it back over. You can do this with the envelope punch board, or I have a little notch punch from Dress My Craft. And I'm literally just lining up my little mark here that was at 2 inches in the center. Of course, it keeps trying to slide on me. I'm going to punch. And again, same thing. So my paper clip's in the way on this side. And punch. Okay. So then what I'm going to do is take my other trimmer, not the one I was just going to use, but this one, and I'm going to cut out this section in between. So I'm going to line it up. And just slide that across. Okay, and remove that section. Same thing on this one. And across. And there we go. Okay. So now we can put these two together. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and fold and burnish my score lines on the sides. Score line is just not as crisp as I would have liked it. And it's given me a little bit of an issue. There we go. I think we got it finally. Yep. There we go. Okay. That little tiny triangle tab, we're just going to fold that up and in, and then we're going to put this together. Give me 1 second. Okay, so rather than try to glue this on the inside, which is going to, I mean, you could actually, it would work. We're going to glue it on this outside. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put glue on this one tab. Okay, I'm going to make sure side with the tape is facing in. And I'm going to go ahead and put this down. Okay, we're going to burnish that down, give it just a second to grab. And we're going to push our score line back over because we've got that little tiny 1/8 inch gusset. Okay, now we're going to do the bottom and the side pretty much at the same time. So you can see how I've got kind of like it's there, it's lined up. So I'm just going to stick the nozzle of my glue down in there and get that. And again, we're going to push this up. Make sure we're lined up all the way across the bottom there. Which you can do because your ruler, if you're using the Tim Holtz ruler, it's going to be right about the same height as what the pocket is. So I can just push this into the bottom and use that to push down on that end where I'm gluing. Okay. And then we just need to do the other side. So same thing again. I'm just getting my glue down inside. I promise you this is the hardest thing on the entire project. The rest of this is going to be easy. Okay. All right. So we're going to put this one down now too. Like so. And there is your acetate pocket. So now we have this little hinge piece. Okay, the hinge piece, we are actually going to attach. I'm trying to think how I did this before. Okay, it's actually going to go on the front here so that when it's opened up, it opens up flat. So we're going to put adhesive down this side. I'm actually going to miter this. Okay. I'm going to open it up. Okay. And I'm going to put glue on here. Okay. I want this so it's gluing to the front of the pocket because we're going to cover up this tab that you can see very clearly right now will get covered up with glue, or I'm sorry, with pattern paper when we mat the pocket. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay, once you get it glued on there, then you can miter on the other side. And then we can grab our base wherever it disappeared to and get ready to put this in, because this is going to go in right here like so. So when this opens up, it's going to come out like this. We actually could put it the other direction. I think I am going to put it this other direction, honestly. Like so. So I'm going to add glue on this tab here. And this is going to come down on the outside edge. Set right, it's going to be exact top to bottom, right on this outside edge. And because we have this little 1/4 inch gusset, and the way we attach this, when it opens up, it's going to lay completely flat when you open it up. Okay? Easy peasy. Okay. The pocket that goes underneath this. So this is 8.5 by 9. What I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this on here, and we are going to do the same notch on this piece that we did on the acetate pocket. So I'm going to mark approximately where I need to line that up, and we're going to go ahead and do our notch. In fact, if you're doing this, let me grab the envelope punch board just in case, because I don't know. This is fairly new. I don't know how many people are going to have this. Envelope punch board is basically the same idea. You're going to center that up and punch. Center that up and punch. And then we'll trim it off just like we did on the other one. Okay, just like so. Easy peasy. I keep saying that. I'm sorry. I'm going to blame the cold meds because I'm on a lot of them today, because otherwise I would not be functional. Okay, so this is 8.5 by 9. We are going to miter at the top. We're going to miter at the bottom. We are going to cut right through the center of where those score lines cross, like so. And then we are going to fold and burnish. And fold over and burnish. And again, fold and burnish. And then that one's ready to go. However, we need to put our top and bottom flaps on before we put this in, because they will sit underneath this pocket. But that lines up now exactly behind our acetate pocket. Okay? All right, so top flap, bottom flap. Let's work on the bottom flap first, because it's the simple one. Okay, so you've got an inch, you've got a 1/2 inch gusset, you've got your flap. We are going to miter up here, like so. We have a 1/2 page flap. So all this is it is a flap that sits in the middle of this page. We're going to miter this one as well. Okay. I'm going to fold and burnish. And when I put these on, I usually will do it with this piece down so that I can make sure this is actually going to line up the way I want it to. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead, line this up on this bottom outside corner, the bottom of the flap, and then down it goes. Okay. So the more times you move this back and forth, the smoother it will turn, but there is that. Okay, so this is our bottom flap. I'm going to flip it so that it's facing me. We have our 2 pockets. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and miter both of these. Since they are cut and scored the exact same, I can miter them both at the same time. Like so. Okay, and we're going to notch both of these, but I'm not going to do the whole little cut in thing. I'm just going to simply notch them right in the middle. So, I'm going to use my ruler. I'm going to mark where my center is. Use my notch. And all I'm doing is this little center section here, be the same on the punch board. I'm just lining up my mark for the center with that and punch it. Ugh. Okay. All right, so then both of these I can fold and burnish. Okay. One is going to go here like so. The other one is going to go on the opposite side, same thing. And they are going to just back up to each other like so. So what I'm going to do to make sure I get them lined up right is I'm going to use my centering ruler again. And I'm going to mark where my middle is so I know where I need to put the bottom of the pocket. Okay? So we're going to go like this. Put that down. And we'll get our sides. Like so. Okay? And then do the exact same thing on the other side. So that's going to back up right like so. Okay. Like so, and then down. And there you go. So then I can go ahead and fold and burnish my score lines for my flap itself. If you would like to mat these before you put this in the book, you absolutely can do that. But they're going to be super easy, very straightforward to mat. Okay? So this is going to come in here, and it's going to go right down here on the bottom all the way to this edge. Okay? So we're going to go just like this. Okay? So then this will close and this will sit on top of it like so. Okay? All right. Our next flap. We're going to miter it just like we did the bottom one. Okay? We're going to start on the back side of this one first, and we're going to do the exact same thing with the pockets that go on the back. Okay? So I've got those that are the 5 by 3.5. We're going to miter. Okay? I'm going to use my ruler again. Find the center point. and mark, and then use my little notch punch. Okay, so there's that. And then I'm going to use my centering ruler one more time to find the center of my flap. And then go ahead and adhere these down just like we did on the back side of the other flap. And this time I'm going to get fancy and I'm going to glue all three sides at the same time, which I don't ever usually do. But we're going to live dangerously. Okay. All the way to the bottom and down we go. And then repeat for the other side. Okay. Live dangerously one more time. And down we go. Then we will fold and burnish our flap. Okay, so the waterfall. So waterfalls are fairly straightforward. We are not going to miter at all. We are just going to fold and burnish all of our little waterfall flaps. Like so. And then we are going to build it on top of this flap. Okay, so when the flap opens, the pockets will go to the top. So just to make sure that you're lined up correctly, I am going to have the waterfall open towards the middle. Okay. All right. Oops. And then I'm carried away with the glue, obviously. That's okay. And then again, so the fold here will go right up against the bottom of the tab before. That's how you get that whole little waterfall thing to work. Okay, there's our next one. And because we're doing it on top of the flap that is the same width as our waterfall, it should make it very, very easy to get this lined up and have it be straight. Because I know that can be kind of challenging. I even have a hard time with that, which is why I tend to build waterfalls and things on top of flaps and pockets and belly bands and things like that, where I have something that's the same width to line them up to make sure they fit the way I want them to. Okay. All right, and this last flap, we are actually going to put this tab on top of this tab. Okay. So this makes it a little bit cleaner on the back side here. Then you go to matte, and that goes like so. So we've got our little band here. I'm going to go ahead and miter my ends. I'm going to fold this. This is going to go down here and come back across. I'm going to just eyeball where the center is. We're going to say about right there. Okay. And then I'm actually going to end up adding a magnet to this, but I'm not going to do it yet because this is kind of long. I'll probably end up cutting an inch or so off of this, but I'm not positive yet. So I'm going to leave it for now. I'll come back and do the magnet after the fact. So this is going to open up like so. We are going to get glue on our tab here. Like so. And then we're going to line this up the same way. Okay, open that up. And then we can come in and put our other pocket in. Now that all of our other flaps are in, this one should fit in here perfectly. Okay. Turn it whatever way works best for you to be able to line it up in here. Okay. We're lined up. And then I'll come back. Okay. So this will fold up. These will fold over and down. You can go ahead if you want to and add magnets on the back side here to hold these down if you decide you need them. I don't think we really are going to, so I'm going to leave that. And next we will work on our other side. Okay, so right side. First up, we have a flap that is 6 3/4 by 8. With the 6 3/4 at the top of the scoreboard, we are going to score this at that can't be right, can it? Hold on. Let me figure this out for sure. Oh, no, maybe it is. Okay. At 1/2 and at 3/4, if you can score it straight, unlike I am doing here, obviously. Okay. So that's first. Okay, this one is going to open up out this way. We have a pocket that goes on top of that. This is 6 1/2 by 8 1/2. So on the 8 1/2 inch side, we're going to score at 1/2 inch. We're going to turn it so that that score line is at the top, and you're going to score at 1/2 inch again. Okay. This is going on top of that, but we're going to angle that. Okay. Next flap is 4 3/4 by 8. With the 4 3/4 at the top of the scoreboard, you're going to score at 1/2 inch. And at 3/4, okay, that one's going to go the other direction. And this one's got a couple of pockets that are going to go on top. So first one's 5 by 6 1/2. With the 5 at the top, we're going to score at 1/2 inch. And at 4 1/2, you're going to turn it and score 1/2 inch. Okay. The one that goes on top of it is 5 by 3 1/2. We're going to start with the 5 at the top again. We're going to score 1/2 inch, 4 1/2. Then we are going to turn it and score at 1/2 inch again. Okay. Then we have something is not quite right here. I think I didn't cut a piece. Quite possibly. Okay, middle flap. This is 9 7/8 by 9 1/4. So we are going to score this with the 9 1/4 at the top at 1 inch and 1 1/4. Okay. On top of it, we are going to have, I'm not finding my pieces. My stuff is out of order here. We're going to have 2 belly bands on this. So both pieces are 6 by 2. With the 6 inch at the top of the scoreboard, you're going to score at 1/2 inch and at 5 1/2. Okay. You're going to do that on both pieces. Okay. Pocket. Hold on, I got to figure out what I did here. I think I cut an extra piece. Oh, wait. Hold on. Oh, is that what I did? Hold on. Just a second here. Okay, those 2 go there. Hold on, I got to figure out what I did here. Okay, so that's exactly what I did. I have an extra piece cut. All right, so we've got those. We've got something still is not making sense. I think I've cut. Okay. No, if that goes there, then. Oh, duh. Okay, I know what I'm doing. All right, we're gonna set that one aside for a minute. All right, we've got 2 flaps that are 4 by 4 1/2. With the 4 1/2 at the top, we're gonna score these at 1/2 inch on both of these. These are going to go on the back side of this. So let's clip that all together. See, I didn't clip any of this one, or it would have made any sense when I was doing it. Okay, so those go there. That one goes there. This one goes here. But I think it's too wide. I think I need to fix that one. Okay. All right, so we're going to do kind of an angled pocket on this middle flap. So I've got a piece that is 6 1/2 by 8 1/2. We're going to score this at 1/2 inch all the way around. So 1/2 inch, turn it a quarter turn, 1/2 inch, quarter turn, 1/2 inch. Okay, that one's going to go on there. This is the one for in the back. Okay, and then we've got 2 pockets that go in the back. One is 9 by 6 1/2 with the 6 1/2 at the top of the scoreboard. We're going to score this at 1/2 inch, turn it, score at 1/2 inch, and at 8 1/2. And then I've got another one that is 8 1/2 by 7. And this one is going to go, hold on. Yes, okay. So with the 7 at the top, we're going to score at 1/2 inch and 6.5, I think. Yes. And then turn it, and on the 8.5 side, we're going to score at 1/2 inch again. This one we are going to notch, so let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to take my centering ruler again, and I'm going to mark. I'm going to get my little notch punch. Actually, not center. Not the center. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter. Center, and then I'm going to come in at 2 and at 2. And that is where I'm going to actually do my notch. Okay. And then I'll go ahead and trim that piece out. Okay. So let's go ahead and assemble this first. So the one that we just cut the notch in, we're going to go ahead and miter. And then fold and burnish. Okay. And then we're going to miter this one as well. And fold and burnish. Okay. So this one goes on top of the other one, like so. Okay. If you wanted to make this a little bit shorter, you could. I ended up deciding I really did want it to run the entire length. So we're going to go ahead and apparently make a big mess, because of course we are. There we go. I'm going to line this up on top of my pocket. Like so. Okay. Then I can open this up, clean up with more glue, because that's apparently what we're going to do today. Oh my gosh, seriously. Okay, I'm going to give that a second before I glue my sides down, just so I don't inadvertently glue the bottom of my pocket closed, but you get the basic idea. So this is going to go on the back inside cover, but we'll need to mat underneath it first. So I have a trick on this, so we'll get back to that. Let's do this center flap. Okay, so we've got our middle flap. We're going to go ahead and miter. And then fold and burnish. I'm going to take my centering ruler and I am going to come up here Find my center point. And then I'm actually going to find my center point this way as well. Okay, so those end up being, so they're going to go about like that. Okay. Other than that needs matted as well. I knew there was a reason I was doing this half second. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and miter those as well. Okay, but then those will go on this side here. So I'm going to set those aside for just a minute. On this side, we're going to take this 6.5 by 8.5 that we scored all the way around. We're going to cut this diagonally. Okay, so, however, before I do that, I want to measure what my space is in the middle here. So this is 7.5 by 5.5. I'm going to write that on 1/4. Okay. The reason I'm going to write that on 1/4 is because once we cut this in half and we go to mat that, that's the size we're going to cut our mat that's going to go on top. Okay. So one of these is going to go down here. One of these is going to go up here. Okay. What I'm going to do, I'm going to miter my bottom corner and my top corner, and then I'm going to miter very, very aggressively on the top and bottom. Okay. And the reason for that is when we fold this over, you don't want any of that hanging out over the edge. Okay. Now, that being said, one is going to go down here like so. Okay. And the other one is going to go up in this upper corner. And that's why I'm saying you're going to miter this really aggressively so you don't have this tab that's sticking out over the edge there. Okay. And this one is going to go up here. Okay. There's that. Belly bands are going to go on the back, so I'm going to clip these on for right now. So I'm going to have to cut some matting and come back with that. Okay. All right, so we've got our flap that's going to go over here on the left-hand side. We're not going to do anything with the pockets just yet, but we can do the flaps that go on the back. So our flaps were both 4.5 by 4. Okay. One's going to go on the top, one of them is going to go on the bottom. They look like they're a little bit wide, so I'm actually going to trim just a little bit off of these. Because I think those were actually not 4 inches. That would be why. All right. So I'm going to miter these. and fold and burnish. And these are just going to go top and bottom on this flap. Like so. Okay. Like so. Okay. Pockets on the front, we're going to wait for just a second. This one, we've got our flap, we've got a pocket that goes on top. Okay. I'm going to miter down here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure up from the score line 3 inches. And I'm going to mark. Okay. And then what I'm going to do, why this other paper trimmer is out, I'm going to put this in my trimmer. I'm going to line up that little mark I made there, and I'm going to go up to the score line on the top. And I'm going to cut this off at an angle. Okay. Like so. So what I want to do here is on the smaller of the 2 pockets, I want to, yep, that's exactly what I want. Okay, so when this is down on the flap, it's going to go like so. So there's our edge of our angle, okay? The flap directly across from it, we want this front pocket to line up at that same angle, okay? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead, fold and burnish. Like so. I'm going to go ahead and put these down on, put this down, that is, on this flap, okay? So I'm going to go ahead, oops, that needs mitered. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and glue this onto the flap. Like so. It's going to go down to the bottom and come up the side there. Okay, why is that like weird? All right, so what I want to do over here is I want to go ahead, cut the corners, get everything mitered. Okay, I want to fold this under because those 2 are not going to change. Okay, so the way this stands right now, these are going to close like so. I'm going to use my little post-it there to kind of keep everything lined up. This one's going to come across like so. I want this angle to continue across. Okay, so it's actually going to be a little bit more than what I wanted. So we're actually going to come up from the bottom here an inch. Okay, So I'm going to do the same little trick again. I'm going to line this up. And there went everything we just put together off the side of the table. Okay, so we've got about an inch there. This is going to be like so. Okay, this pocket, I'm going to go ahead and miter. Okay, this one is going to come across. So this will go on top of this one. This one's going to go angled the other direction. Okay. So again, like so. Okay. So now I can go ahead and put these down. Miter my flap as well, since I'm right here playing with it. Okay, so this is going to go on here. This is going to go on top of it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead glue this all down. Like so. And then this one will go on here like so. So that the pocket itself ends up looking like one of those zigzag cards. I know that probably is what they're called, and I'm drawing a blank at the moment what they are actually called, but you get the basic idea. Okay, so there we go. Zigzag facing this pocket that is also angled. The angle continues on down, and there we go. Okay, back side of this is finished. The back side of this one, however, is not. Let's go ahead and miter this. And miter that. So they're ready to go. Let me turn off an alarm that I have set before my phone light goes nuts here. Okay, so this opens up this way. On the back side here, we're going to do another acetate pocket, but this one's going to sit flat. So this is measured incorrectly, which I didn't give you the measurement, so it's okay. So this really needs to be 7 by, oh, maybe it is okay. Hold on. 7. No, it is actually okay. Never mind. Okay, so this is 7 by 7.5. I am going to take just a sliver off this one side. Okay. We're going to, with the 7-inch at the top, 7.5 at the top, score it 1/2 inch, turn it a 1/4 turn, 1/2 inch again, 1/4 turn, 1/2 inch again. Okay. Then we are going to cut out a frame. So I'm going to take my ruler. I'm going to go in 1 inch from the score line. So here, 1 inch from the top, 1 inch from the score line on this side, 1 inch from the score line on this side. Okay, that was not in the right place over here. Okay, 1 inch in over here. All right, so I am going to go ahead and do this with my trimmer. So I'm lining up that the line that I have drawn with the little guide wire on the trimmer. Okay. And there we go. So I'm going to go ahead and erase my pencil lines. And then we'll cut our acetate for this space. Okay. So our acetate for this piece is going to be, let's see here, 4 3/4 by 5. So I've got a piece of the acetate. Actually, we can go 5 by 5 and that would be just fine. Okay. We're going to turn this over so that we're on the back side. What did I just do? It's still sitting on the thing. Okay. Yeah, 5 by 5 for the acetate. And then we're just going to do the same thing we did before. We're going to run our score tape around. And then pick a corner to start. Line up our acetate and go ahead and put that down. Okay. And there we go. Okay, so then we'll go ahead, miter. And then apparently it's still off. How am I still off? Hold on. Somehow I'm still off, and I'm not sure why. Okay, we're going to have to fix that. I'm going to have to come back. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to cut 1/4 of an inch off each side of this. And then we are going to rescore at 1/2 inch. Okay, so we're going to score at 6 1/2 and at 1/2. Or turn it and go 6 1/2 again because that's going to be easier for me. And then I'm going to do at 6 on the bottom here. and cut off 1/2 inch there. Okay. See, I knew I was getting this all screwed up. This is what happens sometimes. Okay. And then we are just going to do the middle notch on this one. We're not going to do it where we're cutting down in on this. And I totally forgot to do it. So I'm going to mark at the center. And then, actually, no, I take it back. I am too doing the thing across. I know what I'm trying to do. I promise you, I know what I'm doing. So we're going to go 2 inches again and 2 inches again and notch. And then trim. Okay, like so. And then across. Awesome. Okay, there we go. That's better. Let's fold on our second score line there, the new score line. And there. Need to miter that as well. Now you know how to fix that. When I lose my mind and give you incorrect directions. Okay. All right, so this one is going to go on the back here. Very, very simple. So we'll get our glue here, and here, and here. And we're going to drop it, because of course we are. And down we go. Okay, there we go. That is correct. So these are going to go this way. Where's my base? Okay. So let's get our flap here. Is going to go this way. Like so. There we go there. So that one's ready. This one's going on this side. So this is going to go over here. And I dropped our middle flap. I think I can reach it. Ugh, if I can do it without sliding off my chair. Because that'd be about right. Oh my gosh. Okay. This flap will go at the top. And then I will come back in a minute with the matting. So we can put our belly bands on and we can put our other pocket in the middle back here. And there we go. Okay. All right, so this folds down here. These fold down over this. We need to mat on this flap and put our belly bands on and mat back here. And then our other pocket just goes kind of centered back here. But I have a trick to keep you from wasting paper where you have to mat underneath this. So I will get the matting cut and I'll be right back. Okay, so apparently I didn't actually stop my recording when I had done the construction, and I was going to come back and show you the matting and then attaching the little belly bands and this pocket. So I apologize for that. That was a complete screw up on my part. The matting on this top piece here is 7 7/8 by 9 3/4. Okay, These belly bands are both 6 inches by 6 inches, scored at 1/2 inch on each end, which I did show that part. Because this is 9 7/8, however, you do need to score one of these with one side at 5/8, not 1/2 inch. Okay, just because otherwise they don't quite fit. They're a little bit big. Or you could adjust the scoring on both so they're both the same size. But this one, the top of this is 5 inches. The top on this one is 4 7/8. Where it's just that slight difference, you really can't tell from one side to the next. But then all I did was take my centering ruler, mark where the center here was, and then where the center was up and down to line these up so that they're right in the middle. I do talk about inserts next, so that's where you'll learn how to do those. For this down here, this matting piece is 7 7/8 by 9 7/8. Okay. What I then did was I cut out this center piece here. So this is 6 by 8. So I measured in 7 7/8 by 5 7/8 and cut a section out of this bottom piece, flipped it over, and then used it to mat this pocket. Okay. For the notching on the pocket, it's going to be the same as I show you on here and also on this as well. Okay, for this piece. So when I go through that, that's how you're going to cut the piece you cut out of here, assuming you want to do that. I do that simply so that you're not wasting the paper. So let me show you really quickly on just a piece of solid cardstock how I do that. Okay, so let's cut this down. So this would be 9 7/8 by 7 7/8. And what I did is I took my ruler and a pencil, and I actually got that not quite where I really needed it to be. So truly it should have been about 1/2 inch up, and I'm going to go 8 7/8. Okay. Draw a line 8 7/8, 1/2 inch up from the bottom. Okay. On this side, actually it needs to be about 1/2 inch in as well. So it would have been like that. So 5 7/8 up here would have actually been there. So okay, so 1/2 inch up from the bottom, 1/2 inch in from the side. And then you're just going to do same measurement across. And then the same measurement down. Okay, so this piece is now 5 7/8 by 7 7/8. And then either using a craft knife, using your trimmer, whatever works best for you. I'm just going to line this up. And this is going to go both directions here. Here. And then like so to cut out that piece. Okay. And then had I lined this up correctly on the bottom back here when I was measuring and cutting this, which I did not do, so my pocket's a little higher than it should have been. This should have been further down like so. Okay, so then that pocket would then go right on top of that. The matting for this, you would then slide this in. Let me get my insert out of there first. Slide this in like so. Line it up and then mark where that notch is. Okay, like that. Put that back down in there and close this up. And then I would take my notch punch. So you can see on here, I've got my little mark, my pencil mark, where that is. I'm lining that up, and I can't really show you on camera, unfortunately, I don't think. Let me actually see if I move this in. So you can see where the metal piece that's actually going to punch down is. I'm lining my pencil mark up with that. And then I'm going to slide it over just a tiny bit and then punch, which this one is not an easy one to punch holding it up like this. I'll tell you that. Okay. So then I'm going to do the same thing over here, lining it up. Sliding it over just a tiny bit and punching, and then you're going to cut that piece out. Either with your trimmer, with your scissors, if you feel comfortable doing it with scissors. I'm cutting straight across and cutting that piece off, and then you've got your matting for the top of your pocket. Okay, inserts. That is the only thing left to go over. So I did 2 that are 5x7, and I just matted those with the colored coordinating cardstock. There is 1 that is 7.5x8. This is going to go in the big pocket on the back side underneath the big acetate pocket. If you wanted to make a second one for the acetate pocket, you could, but I don't want to put one in there just now. So for that one, I just, again, used scraps and a couple of cut aparts on this one to mat this. And then I'll end up putting one of the little tabs from the bits and pieces on here. I also have 2 mats that are 3 1/8 by 8 1/8 for these journaling cut aparts. Same thing for the 3x4 version. So these are 3 1/8 by 4 1/8 for those. I've got 4 that are 3 1/4 by 3 3/4, and these are for those little pockets that are on the flaps that come up by the big acetate pocket. I don't know if I'm going to use these. That's why I haven't matted them. So, but if you want inserts for that, they are 3 1/4 by 3 3/4. I'm going to do some tags, which we'll do in just a second. And then I've got 2 that I'm going to do little booklets, and these are going to go on those little belly bands. And these are 8 1/8. Ooh, are these going to fit? Oh, I might need to trim these down because that flap is 8 inches. Ooh, I did not think of that. Okay, I'm going to have to trim these down. So these are going to be 7 7/8 by 6 1/4, and you're going to score them at 3 1/8. So let me trim these down really quick because I did not even think of that. They are going to be too long otherwise. So I do need to make them shorter, which means I need to make these shorter, which is fine. Okay, so then on both of these, I'm going to take 1/8 of an inch off the bottom and 1/8 of an inch off the top. so that they fit. And 2, so then it's, you know, even. And then my mats here, for that, I'm going to cut down. So my mats here are 3 by 7 3/4 now. And then I've got some, couple of cut aparts and then just a couple of other just random mats that I was going to put in there that I know are going to need trimmed down. And I think I left them on purpose because I'll do that in a minute. So let's put one of these together. So basically you're going to score it at 3 1/8. And then fold and burnish. This is going to go on the front here. I'll just center that up. And then one of these will go here on the inside, and then I'll do one of the cut aparts, and then I'll trim that down so that it fits. But one of these other little mats. So that's how both of those are going to go. The only other thing left is tags. So I have 3 pieces of cardstock that are 4 by 6, and then I have the matting that is 3 7/8 by 5 7/8. So I've got my little tag tool, and I'm just going to line my 4 by 6 up underneath here, right where it is for the guides, and I'm going to mark. And then I'm going to do the same thing with my matting, that I'm just going to center it because it is slightly smaller. I'm just going to center it, put it at the top line, and mark. And then all I have to do is trim that. I've got just a little bit of pencil mark there that you can just barely see. And then I will do the same thing here. And then I don't know where my punch is. Oh, it's not there. Okay, well, I've apparently lost my normal hole punch. That's okay, because I will just use this one. And then I can glue this down on top, and it will line up exactly. And punch my hole one more time. Just because I don't want to run the risk that my hole's not going to line up exactly. There we go. All right, there is one of my tags, and I'll do the same thing with these 2, and then these will go on the pocket on the very back of the right hand side. So that is all of your inserts. Okay, so let's do this little pocket here first. So what I did is I measured how much I had on each side, cut strips that were the right height. So this pocket's 6 by 6, so this is 5 7/8, and then the strip is 5/8 wide. Okay, did that for both of these. The bottom one was 1/2 inch-ish. Yeah, I think I cut it to 1/2 inch. And then what I did is I lined up the corners. So like if I hadn't already trimmed this, I lined up my corners, and then I cut straight across on the corner. Okay. And then I'm flipping them so that cut edge is at the top, because I have my little piece at the top that's got the notch in it that's going to kind of cover that up. Okay. Which is what I wanted. So for that, I just did the same thing again. I measured the full width, including the top. So that was about 1 inch. I cut this to 7/8 of an inch by 5 7/8, and then just held it under here, marked where my little notches in needed to be, and lined them up with my punch. Okay, so all we're going to do is line these up on the side like so. Sorry about that. This one is going to go across like so. And then this one will go across the top. Okay, and there we go. All right, so for these angled pockets here, you'll remember when I folded the tabs in on this before I cut it in half, I measured it and wrote it down. So it was 7.5 by 5.5. So that's what size this piece is. And I'm just going to line this up in my trimmer with the corners where it's going to cut straight across. And that's literally all there is to matting that little piece. Okay. Except it's slightly big, which is fine. This really probably should have been 7 3/8 by 8 3/8. All I need to do is take 1/8 of an inch off here and 1/8 of an inch off here. Don't try to take it off the angle, okay? You take it off the two straight sides and it's going to work perfectly every single time. So I'm going to do the same thing on this one. And then for this center section, you can just cut a piece that fits all the way up underneath the angled pockets on that. If you want, you can get fancy and cut one on the diagonal to just fill in that space. Honestly, that's harder than it's worth. So use a petite print or a solid or something to fill that in, and you'll be just fine. Okay. And there's this one. And there we go. Okay. So, front piece here. So what I've got for the inside of this pocket, I've got a piece from the 6x6 pad that I've just cut down to 5 7/8 wide, and I'm going to glue that one in. Okay, if you want to then glue the edge of this pocket closed, you can. I'm going to leave it for now. I may come back and glue it closed later on. For the pocket here, and you'll see I've got a magnet here because what I'll do is either an odds and ends piece that I'll mat on black cardstock or like a doodle pop or a cut apart or something that I'll glue to one side and then put the magnet, mat the magnet underneath on the back side, just to make sure that this whole section stays closed. But what we're going to do there is we are just going to measure up 3 inches, just like we did when we made the pocket, and then just line that up and cut it off. So this is just one of the coordinating petite prints. So nothing too complicated here. I'll go ahead and put that one on there. I need to take a little bit off the bottom of this. We're good side to side, but the bottom we're just a teensy bit long. So I'm going to take the magnet that's not stuck down and get the backing off of my tape there, and then I'm just going to glue this one down. In fact, I might end up cutting out the cute little gumball machine and using that for my closure piece on this one. But I haven't decided yet. So, okay, there's that one. I'm going to put my magnet back there so I have it, I don't lose it. All right, so on this side, I've got the cutoff from this that is just going to go down in here like so. We don't need to do anything fancy with that one. Okay, for the other 2 pockets on this, what I had planned on using was, again, the 6x6. So I'm going to do the little ghosts, and then I'm going to do the plaid. What I did is I took just a scrap of paper, slipped it down in here, and marked where my angle was, and then did the same thing on the other one. So all I have to do here, because I know it needs to be 3 7/8 wide, so I'll cut my little ghost to 3 7/8 wide, and then I can put this piece down over the top, line it up in here with that angle where I need it to be, and just trim it. And then I've got my piece that will sit perfectly on top of that angled pocket. Okay. Again, I think I need to take about 1/8 of an inch off of the bottom of this, which is fine. Not a big deal. In fact, I'm wondering if, nope, not quite the right angle. Okay, so I will save that for another project. But so then that will sit perfectly on top there. Okay. So then for my other piece, and I totally just did that wrong. I wanted that one on there. But you know what? It's fine. I like the ghosts down like that. It's cute. Okay, so I'm going to take my other piece. I'm going to go 3 7/8. Height. We're not quite where we need to be height-wise, but that's okay. What I'm going to do is measure how tall this is. So it is 6 inches. So I am going to go trim this down to 5 7/8. Actually, that one cut off, didn't it? Okay, hold on. 1 second. We are going to go, that's not big enough either. Hold on a minute. Bear with me. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take a scrap here. And a scrap here. And I'm going to show you exactly how I did this. So this just slid down in like so, all the way to the bottom, hopefully, if it wants to cooperate. There we go. And then I'm just going to mark across, just like that. Okay. So then I can take my piece that's actually going to go there. I can line it up underneath on my blade here, and then just cut through that scrap, and then we have our matting for our pocket. See? Just like that. Like I said, it's a little bit tall, so I'll just take another 1/8 of an inch off of the bottom. And that should be about where it needs to be. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. Get my glue on there and slide this down in. And there we go. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this piece, except this one I can leave as is. I don't know if I want that or if I want it with that one again. I think it needs to be that same. See, this is why I don't mat on camera. I literally will spend 25 minutes doing just exactly what I'm doing right here. I think I want it the other way. Okay, there we go. And that will go in here. Slide down in. All right, so there we go there. Okay, this is straightforward. That's straightforward. This one's already done. So on this side, waterfall, half-page flap are very straightforward. I haven't cut anything for those yet. We're going to work on these two pieces right here. So first up, I have this piece that's going to go on top of the pocket that you're going to see it through the spider webs, okay? And I keep going back and forth. I think I like that one better. Okay, so what I'm going to do again, I'm going to fold this back out of the way. Maybe. I'm going to slide this. So this is 8 by 8. This is 7/8 by 7/8. I'm going to slide this down in. Right to the top there. And I'm going to mark where my curves are for my punch. Okay. I'm going to line it up in here, and then I'm going to slide it over just a hair so I get that offset. Okay. All right. So there's that. I'm actually going to do this with my knife instead of the trimmer just because it's a little more precise. Okay. So there's that. And this one will go down just like so. So not super difficult. Okay. Okay. So now our frame, front and back. What we're going to do is I have for each side strips. So the frame is 1 inch all the way around. These pieces are 7/8 of an inch. Okay. So what I'm going to do, and this is what I did on the other one, is I'm going to line my corners up like so. Okay. I'm going to take my scissors. I'm going to go line them up in that corner there across to the outside corner and just cut. Okay, that's literally all there is to it. So I'm going to do that one there. There is like a right direction on these stars, and it's hard to see tone on camera, but there is definitely a right direction and a wrong direction. Okay. So then I'm going to do this over here as well. Okay. And then one more time over here. Okay. So now what I'm going to do with my bottom piece, okay, hold on. There's my side. Bottom piece, top piece. There we go. Okay. Excuse me again. All right. So this one is going to go down on here, just like so. Okay. All right. We're going to put this side and then our top. My thing's underneath the book there, which is fine. Here we go there. All right, so now this piece is going to fall off the back side of my desk. All right, so this piece, we need to cut our notches. So I am going to line it up under here. My husband's being a smart aleck on text. He's picking up something for me off Marketplace. And yeah, we'll just leave it at that. Okay, so there we go. Mark that. And then what I want to do is I actually want to punch both of these at the same time. So I'm going to find my side piece that's going to go on the other side, which is right here. And I am going to do the stars up on the other side. So I'm going to line it up, slide it over just a bit. Oh, that man, I'm telling you. He's picking something up for me, and he texted, package secured, cops are chasing me, moving to Canada and changing my name. So that's what I live with on a daily basis. Oh my gosh. Okay. So, oops, we need to trim this first before I get ahead of myself again. Okay. So we're going to line up and line up. Okay. So this will now go on here like so. And we are all set. I am going to trim just a teensy bit more off of that. And there we go. Other than my thing's like in a weird spot now. I didn't quite go down enough on this. There we go. Okay. All right, so let's glue this one on. And there we go. Okay, so we're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. Only this time we're doing it with the star side up. I'm sorry, the multicolored star side. They're both stars, but one is the tone-on-tone yellow, the other is the multicolored. There we go. Did I cut it enough? I did. Okay. So we've got our side here, got our side here, and trim. There we go. Honestly, I don't know why it matters, but it matters to me. So there we go. Okay. All right. So there's one piece. And then we're going to have another piece. And I just totally cut that the wrong direction, didn't I? Oh, of course I did. Okay, so how do we fix this? I don't know. Unless we just, no, that won't work. I'm going to have to cut another one of these. So that will be here in just a minute. In the meantime, we've got this piece that should be like so, which we already cut because I cut it the wrong way on the other one. Excuse me. Oh my gosh, I'm sure that was really loud and I apologize. Oh my gosh. This cold is going to be the death of me, I'm telling you. All right, so this one's going to go down here. This one's going to go up here. And I have to find the rest of that paper because I'm not sure where it is. I don't know if that's a big enough piece. I don't think it is. Okay. I'm going to have to cut another piece, but you get the basic idea. So this one will go down here. We'll figure this out and fix this one, and I will go ahead and glue all of that down. So let me fix that, and then we'll come back and we'll do these pockets. Okay, so on my little flaps here, it's just 4x4 cut aparts that I've trimmed down to fit. Same thing with the front of my waterfall. I'll do something different on the tabs there, and then of course on that little back page. And I most likely am going to use the 6x6 pad for this band here, as well as the belly bands back here. Okay. So the pockets. So what I have done is I've got cut aparts that I've trimmed down to fit on here. And all I'm going to do is just like we've done before, and this one's even going to be easier because it's just the notch and you're not like trying to widen things out. So I am literally just going to come in here, line this up, and then mark where my notch needs to be. Okay. And then when I put it on here, I'm going to try and show you. So I've got my pencil mark there. When I line it up in here, And I don't think you're not going to be able to see that. I don't think it's lined up. Ugh, that does not like to be held up in the air and punched. Okay. So that will go down just like that. And I will just do the exact same thing on the other ones. So again, that one will go there. And then the same thing on this other side. In fact, I'm going to switch that one up there and this one down here. And they should be fine because we did center those when we did it. So okay. Hi, Gus. He thinks it's food time. He's got 20 minutes. Okay, last one. Okay, there we go. And that's it. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and glue these down and then do my decorating, mat my other couple of little spots that need it that are, very straightforward. And that's about it. As always, thank you for watching. If you end up following this tutorial or any of my tutorials, please tag me on Facebook and Instagram at Scrapping Under the Influence. You can also share them in my group Scrap Happy Peeps on Instagram. I'm sorry, not Instagram, Facebook. And it doesn't have to be one of my tutorials. It doesn't have to be anything that has to do with me. It's just anything you make, you can share it in that group. We are not picky. And we like to see what you guys are making. So as always, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, ring the bell if you want to be notified when I post new projects. And I'll see you guys again next time. Bye.